It's breakaway_USA on Twitter. So you can watch it live and keep scrolling and get your adrenaline fix. Hello, Jessica.
Love it, love it. How about everybody spam the chat where you're tuning in from, what state you're from, what country you're from, if you're not in the United States. But yeah, Fabian, we got a bunch of different topics to talk about, and I know some of the other boys are gonna join us later today. But yeah, the feedback has been awesome, huh? I mean, everybody is so engaged in the comments. They're liking the conversation. Everybody's joining in and stuff like that. So.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Justin, I'm supposed to check on your cats today. My buddy Justin is out of town. I'm going to go after this live is over to go check on your cats, make sure they're still alive.
Yeah, I got to make sure you get that done.
So
let's
we
roll
do have quite a number of topics today.
We do. We have a lot. And
hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Mike. Everyone, this is Michael. We are streaming live on Twitter right now, and Rumble as well.
On Maui, awesome. Pensacola, Florida.
Gentry is also going to be joining us in a bit. He's going to get on in a second. But guys, I did want to start off, and if you guys listening have been, I'm not sure if you're privy to a lot of the stuff that's coming out. Life is busy. You're doing a million things. You're trying to survive in this economy.
Oh, Steve, Fabian, is your video? David, can you see Fabian's video?
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
I cannot. But
there is something happening at the border. I'm sure you guys know. We're having record-breaking illegal immigrants coming, not even from Latin America solely, but from all over the country. From all over the world, for that matter. Military-aged males streaming across the border, tens of thousands every single day. I think we're on course to have about 8 million new ones. And there was a chart that came out today that showed that there are more illegal immigrants coming into this country than there are Americans being born. The chart has flipped. So Americans being born have now gone beneath the amount of people that are coming in this country. And one thing that there's videos online that people are exposing in that Delta and other airlines are flying illegals on airplanes with other U.S. citizens to sanctuary cities or some other place that we don't even know about.
They're not just flying them across the country on Delta. They're giving them premium seats, y'all. And that's crazy if you think about it. I mean, and it's not just, they're getting premium seats. It's your taxpayer dollar going to this stuff. And it's absolutely absurd. Fabian, didn't you say that you saw some of this activity going on when you last flew?
Yes. So
can I interrupt you guys just for a sec? Can I interrupt you guys for a sec? So we can come back to this in a sec. I see Steve Ray Sorensen, who is the director of Beneath Sheep's Clothing. He's actually watching. Steve, if you're watching, maybe request to join. It'd be cool to talk to you.
Oh yeah,
Fabian, you remember meeting him at
of course,
at the booth?
of course, absolutely.
Steve, if you're still there, but otherwise everybody, I don't know if you see Steve Ray Sorensen. He's a director of Beneath Sheep's Clothing, the movie that was made after the book that Julie Bayling wrote that we just had a discussion with her yesterday.
Remember her, yeah.
So Steve, if you can request to talk if you want to, otherwise, sorry. Yeah. But go ahead, keep going with.
So I was on a plane from Vegas, coming back to Los Angeles after MFest. I had a layover in Vegas, and I had just seen the video that Ashley St. Clair posted of essentially she was at the Phoenix airport at gate 7, and I left out of gate 6. So I was watching this, and she was filming, and there was a line of about, 40 or 50 illegals that were here with all their, with their backpacks and their paperwork, and they were getting on planes. So I was coming back from Vegas after my layover, and I'm sitting in the plane, and we're supposed to take off, let's say at like 2:05. Well, the plane hadn't taken off yet, and there was a lot of empty seats on the plane. And we're waiting, and I asked the stewardess, I said, hey, what are we waiting for? She said, we're figuring some things out. All of a sudden, 20 people just come. And now you have to think about this. When the gate closes, So there's no more people that get on. if you take off at 2:05, the gate closes at probably 1:50, 1:55. Now it's 2:15. We haven't taken off. Gates closed, and we have 20 people come on board. And I was watching this, and exactly what I thought was happening was exactly what was happening. All these people with the exact same backpack. They all had like this government issued backpack with this like American flag. Didn't speak any English. Illegals just piled in and didn't even have any tickets. Just sat wherever they could sit. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, this is exactly what I was watching the video of. Like this is it right now.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna start seeing it a bit everywhere. It's not just gonna be on your Twitter feed. It's gonna be around you. Especially, I mean, people that live near the borders have seen it going on, in their daily life for a long time. But people in New York are now familiar with it, right? You got Eric Adams freaking out, backtracking on his sanctuary city stuff.
And the fun
this is
thing
after
about
St. Clair. This is the lady who broke it. So and now people are just taking pictures of it because now they understand what they're looking at.
yeah.
This is out of Tucson today.
Are you showing something?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
can't
can
see
see it, Fabian.
Oh, okay. I see a black screen
These
for you
are
right now.
these are the tickets that are being issued. So this is issued by American, or I'm not sure which airline, but O'Keefe Media Group exposed this on American. Abdoulaye Cissé, and it has the confirmation number and the tickets. It says, "Please help me print my boarding pass. I'm a refugee and I do not speak the language. Thank you." Here's another one. Phoenix Sky Harbor. That's where I flew out of. Mercedes Saldana, traveling with 2 people. American. So these are not even tickets. These are just whatever these are given to them.
Yeah.
they
Just
got the-
passes to get on.
And we're paying for this. Taxpayers are paying for all this.
So somebody in the comments said, check out the 100-year plan. Have either of you heard of this? Is this China's 100-year plan? Is this whoever wrote that in the comments? Maybe.
By the way,
Give me a
guys,
little context.
again, just to reiterate, we are streaming on X. So if you'd like to regain your ability to scroll, you can go to breakaway_USA on Twitter. We're streaming live there. And if you're streaming live there, if you're watching it, make sure you give us a follow.
What I was
Yeah.
gonna say that like you don't really think about until we start to talk about it is that when they're flying these illegal immigrants all over the United States, the problem is how many of them are getting into battleground states, and eventually when they pass their what is it called,
Legislation to allow illegal immigrants to vote.
exactly, or just give them all citizenship, just wave the wand and all of a sudden 15 illegal immigrants are citizens now. That's going to really impact elections.
That has to be the most ridiculous thing I've heard in years, that they want to make illegal immigrants, like at the same time that they're doing nothing to stop illegal immigration, and they're actually essentially fostering it and making it happen, allowing it to happen. They also want illegal immigrants to vote. I mean, they're just kind of like spitting in our face now. They're not even trying to hide their tactics, because they know they can't win the 2024 election legitimately. So anything goes at this point for them, right? They don't have the same excuse with the 2020, COVID fiasco. What do people
I
call
just
it?
don't think anybody would ever even believe that anymore. If they tried something similar to COVID in 2024, which it seemed like they were trying to when this weird thing came out of China at first, but
right.
Everybody kind of understands, okay, yeah, I'll do my precautions or whatever, but I'm not going to lock down. I'm not going to stay in my house. I'm not going to let it impact my who I want to vote for based on how they're handling the situation. I mean, I think people actually understood that. That's why I don't know if you guys saw, but there's this news reporter, investigative journalist for I forgot which exact news station, but she does all the stuff that foreign related intelligence and whatnot, and she just beautifully goes over it. But she's the one that was on TV the other day talking about that she believes there'll be a black swan event or whatever it's called that will happen.
What would that mean?
It's basically like something that hasn't ever happened
Oh.
before.
Right. Well, the whole COVID. They just
Yeah,
need an
so
excuse for mail-in
in
ballot, right?
Russia, whenever there's a leader who dies, they play Black Swan on the television, and that's how the country knows that something very, very bad has happened. So when Brezhnev died, when whenever a big Russian premier dies, that's how you know something happened. They play Black Swan on all the state television.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's their signal.
Exactly.
So, hello, Fabian.
Yeah, we lost Dave for a second.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
oh,
What are
and
we
Gentry's here, guys.
Big G.
Talking on.
Yeah, along with they don't have any other way of winning the 2024 election other than stealing it. So it'll be interesting to see what they try to do. We know most of
And
the
Gentry. He's here, everybody. And David's back.
Wrong button.
So we got the whole squad here now, everyone.
Perfect.
Now we're
Yeah.
stuck.
Everybody's here. Yeah, no, but the Black Swan thing, you're absolutely right. Every time that they want to signal to people that something catastrophic just happened, that's exactly what they're going to play on TV and whatnot. So,
Absolutely. Gentry, how are you? Say hi to everyone.
How are you, sir?
Everyone, say hi to Gentry.
What do I do with my hand? What's up, everybody?
Just smile and nod.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, we just released our podcast that we recorded. It released yesterday. So if you want to check it out, it's three of us, and Gentry couldn't make it yesterday. He was busy. And you might want to tell people why you were busy, but you don't have to. Anyway, if you want to check it out, just go to...
Brianna also wasn't able to join us,
Yes.
but we're going to have plenty more podcasts coming out. So
Go to breakawayusa.co, and all the links are there. Or you can just simply go to Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts at. It's just Breakaway USA. It's there. We're also on Rumble. We are also streaming on X live right now. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but if you want to check us out streaming live there, you can pop the window out so you can still scroll.
30 days, keep eating it.
And you can still watch us at the same time.
Yeah.
So here's what
Hello,
I'll
the
say.
Arizona Patriot. By the way,
So
I see some of your comments.
here's what I'll say. It is more important than ever to support conservative media, and especially conservative content creators like ourselves that aren't supported by a whole bunch of funding. We're doing this essentially out of the goodness of our hearts, right? We're trying to build up this media company so we can get the truth out. And obviously we're getting hit by censorship all the time, but it's more important than ever to follow, to like, to turn on notifications, to support any way that we can. Like a really, really easy way to support is to hit save on posts, to share it with a friend, to say, hey, these guys actually had some pretty good points. What do you think about it? Right. So
It goes a long way.
It goes a long way. And like, not everybody can get involved, and not everyone can be a donor or take off work to go chase the vote, but everybody can hit save. Everyone can share this. Everyone can do at least that. And so we appreciate everybody that follows, likes, comments, shares, and saves. And we ask that you continue to do that, because it really, really is more important than ever to support conservative media.
Yeah, at this point, it's the only thing that works, because so for instance, my account cannot be shown to non-followers. And I'm not sure if Gentry, you still have that happening to you. So basically, I don't show up on Discover pages. I don't show up anywhere. The only way that other people see content is if it's liked, if it's shared with other people. So that's how we're getting around it. So if you can help with that, that would go a very long way, because that's how we get the word out to people. And also adding us on Twitter.
Share. It doesn't cost you anything, and we deliver such good news anyways that everybody should know about this. So share as much as you can, and
also actually a good point to make is get involved. Everybody who's listening, I mean, if you're listening to us and you follow us, it's because you care about the country that you're living in. You care about restoring justice, restoring, self-governance. And we're getting to a point where we all have to get involved. So message us, write to us. If you want to work together, if you want to, hop on one of these calls with us. Just get involved because we're at a very dire moment, as you all know. So we're trying to do our part, and we want everybody to join the conversation. It's the only way we're going to be able to like gain the knowledge to fight back, and strategize. We need our own game plan. We need our
Well,
own
and the
game
thing
plan.
is we all are doing this out of the like Gentry said, out of the feeling in our hearts that something needs to be done, right? Like I was out living my life, just doing what I was doing, focusing on business, and then I saw the world completely flipped upside down. And I'm a very logical person, and I hate stupidity. So when I saw stupid things happen, to me that made zero logical sense, and I said, "What the hell is going on here?" I got out of the loop for a little bit. I come back, things are different. What happened? I went to investigate it, and the amount of stupidity and these new philosophies that have come to the forefront, like postmodernism, and these new theories like diversity, equity, and inclusion, and critical race theory. It's just all stupidity. It's all Marxism and communism repackaged. So we all felt the need to say, we can't have this happen. We have to have our voices out there, even though they're being censored, so we could spread the word and other people could wake up.
With that being said, I think we got to go to the next story with the Maine Secretary of State.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of censorship, right? I'd say that's even worse than censorship, but I guess I can kind of like
Yeah.
go over it a little.
Give an intro.
Can you
I think
intro it
most
for
people
and tell
know,
us
but
what
round it off.
Yeah, no. So obviously everybody saw Colorado take away Trump off the ballot, but the Secretary of State who actually is in charge of putting people on the ballot, she kind of said, well, I'll let that be. But Maine, that was because of a court ruling, but Maine Secretary of State basically flat out came out and said, yeah, he violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, so he's right away disqualified from holding
One
office.
person.
One person. There's
this lady right
not
here.
a single ruling, no conviction, nothing like that. And it's just one person, the Secretary of State, who's in charge of running the state's election, is literally arbitrarily deciding, yeah, Trump is guilty, so yeah, he's not going to be on the ballot. And that is just crazy. And the funny thing about it, I don't know, just shut up after
I don't know
this,
how
but
that's Twitter for you. Sorry.
that is exactly. But the crazy thing about that is that they were saying Trump was, doing an insurrection because he was trying to organize different state officials to try and flip the votes and stuff like that. What are they doing right now? They're literally doing election interference, exactly what they accuse Trump of. They're like trying to pressure state officials essentially to throw Trump off the ballot, and that's crazy.
They will say and do anything. They have no moral standard. They don't care about the rules. They'll change the rules every chance they get to benefit them. So we got to stop. Like there's a certain point where we have to understand that the laws that exist at a certain point become not irrelevant, but like you have to understand that they're going to break them, right? You have George Soros funding DAs and prosecutors. They choose not to prosecute crime. That's changing the law, de facto changing the law from a subversive tactic, which is, illegal, but who's going to do anything about it? There's plenty of stuff that was illegal or unconstitutional that happened during the COVID pandemic nonsense. There's nothing that is going to stop them unless we do something about it. So.
Well, one of the interesting things that I heard today, that the lady, number one, she's unelected, right? Well, she's elected by people in government, but she's not elected by the people.
Yeah, she's appointed. She's appointed by the state legislature.
So she's taking away the voice of the American people, not even being elected. Just like the globalists, the World Economic Forum, and all these other globalist organizations want to do the exact same thing without ever having been elected. And even Elon Musk calls them out on this.
Oh, she's not even a lawyer. She's not even a lawyer.
Exactly. She's not a lawyer.
Wait. In Maine, the Secretary of State is not elected by the people?
No.
Correct.
That is crazy.
But no, but I actually like the fact that the state legislatures choose, they basically vote within the state legislature. So they nominate somebody and vote on it. But the fact that she just, there's no way this can stand, legally. It is insane. But again, they just say and do whatever they want, and it stands. They call January 6th an insurrection over and over and over and over again. It doesn't change the fact that it wasn't, but it becomes that in people's minds.
There's a big difference that I want to clarify for people, because there's a difference between calling something and it actually being something. You have to know, anyone out there listening, that you have to be under the 14th Amendment. You have to be accused and convicted of incitement, of treason, of all these bad things. And guess what? Trump was never convicted of any of this stuff. And it doesn't even matter if you like Trump or not. Let's say it was Biden in the same position. If he did something and it wasn't justified, that it's not justified. That's the whole point of the law. It's supposed to be blind to opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it to go to the Supreme Court. I think, and well, I know it's going to go there. They're gonna strike it down because it has no factual basis. But what I wanted to say earlier was the lady, the Secretary of State for Maine, she used other YouTube videos to get ideas on why she should do this.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds funny when you say it, but like I learn a lot of what I know from YouTube. So it's just like you don't really want to put.
Secretary of State who's
You're right,
president
right.
from being voting.
What an
from voting.
amazing legal advice you're getting right there, Oh yeah, let me go do this now. Let me take a presidential candidate from the opposing party that I represent off the ballot. I guess I don't know if she's officially a Democrat, but you know what I mean. She is the Democrat.
So, two things though. I think like we may be taking this the wrong way, right? Because she's getting her legal advice from YouTube. There are lawyers on YouTube. Like I think that proves the power of social media, that secretaries of state are going to social media to get information, right? Imagine if we flip it and we help get someone elected, right? Then we can be the influential cause to, whatever legal precedent that they want to set in the future. I think that's really powerful. So I don't think we want to discount the fact that she did get some stuff from YouTube. Number two, what this reminds me of, what she did, and this might be like way out of bounds, but it just reminds me of when I was younger, my parents would take away toys or video game consoles or whatever because the siblings were fighting about it. It's like if you can't agree, then you're just going to get it taken away. So essentially what she's doing is treating full-grown adults like voting age, like they're like just like adults as freaking kids.
That's the story of the left.
That's the story of the left. They just like, oh, like I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I know what's best, and I'm just gonna make unilateral decisions, and it's gonna change your life. And it's the arrogance of it.
Oh yeah,
is insane.
Yep. But it's not surprising.
It's a cult. So they treat you like you're a child because
Well,
that's how you get the people to follow you.
Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday, right? Like this Latinx stuff and, I don't know, all these different woke things. It's never like that group of people. It's not the Latinos saying we're Latinx. It's these white liberals that are, Harvard educated and think that that's the deepest internal racism, is that these people are too unable to take care of themselves. So we, the smarter, more intelligent, enlightened people, need to come in and, work, do something to benefit them. It's like it's the arrogance is exactly right. It's staggering, and it's just in your face.
I want to say something about what Gentry said about speaking to people like you're a child. But before I do, guys, again, if you're watching us and you want to scroll and you're like, I like what they're saying, but I need to scroll, I need to get my adrenaline fix. Go to X, breakaway_USA. The window pops out on your phone. So we're streaming live there. You can watch it and still do whatever you're doing on your phone. If you've heard of someone named Robin DiAngelo, she is basically the lady who wrote white fragility stuff. She wrote tons of books about white fragility. And she is a massive, just massively horrible person. But the way that she speaks to people like they're children. Mm-hmm. Very, almost like the Scientologists do. If you ever talk to a Scientologist, they're very, hi, how are you? Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, it's really creepy if you go into a Scientology center, the way they speak to you. And I know there's a Scientologist on here. Sorry, buddy, I love you, man. You're a cool guy. But anyway, not on the chat, sorry, or not one of you four, but in the chat. But anyway, that's how she speaks to people. So she explains all these stupid theoretical concepts that don't make any sense with such assuredness, and like a teacher teaching a child, that people revert back to that part of their time of their life when they were in class listening to a teacher.
Yeah. So have you guys heard of the soft bigotry of low expectations? Oh, Jeff, you're looking good. So the soft bigotry or soft racism of low expectations is essentially what we're talking about. It's you expect that because somebody is black that they won't be able to get a voter ID. Hello, like what? Like, and somehow, so it's these things that they say amongst themselves that they don't actually ever think through, because saying that is saying that is racist. You're saying that black people are too stupid to get a voter ID.
Mike,
I just saw an interview today with a guy interviewing this black girl, and he's like, "Hey, what do you think about what do you think about when people say that black people can't get an ID, so we can't require them to vote?" And the girl goes, "Are you stupid?" She's like, "This is 2023, man. Like, get over it."
You need an ID to go to the debonair and get, alcohol or cigarettes or whatever.
not just that, but it's like the most vital thing. Ami Horowitz did this on like the New York,
so good.
went in like 2016, 2015, and he's like, "What do you think about?" First, he goes and asks white people. He's like, "Do you think that black people should have to have an ID in order to vote?" And they're like, "No." And then they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because they may not have an ID, or they don't know how to go get an ID and stuff like that." And I'm like,
the DMV.
right. And then they go to like another part of New York, and they're like asking black people. They're like, "So what do you think about these white liberals who say that you can't go get an ID?" And they're like, "What? Why are they saying that?" And it's like, come on now. It's like,
you have an ID. You know what the DMV is? He's like, "Yeah, it's on 4th and 76th. Of course, right around the corner."
It's just
it's so
excuse.
good.
It's an excuse to make sure that they can cheat in the ballots and do what they want. I mean, we saw, and I don't know if you've seen, but there are tons of videos. There are lawsuits now, secretaries of state calling about all of this illegal activities, not even just ballot stuffing, which technically I guess is legal. It's in the gray area, but illegal activities during the 2020 election, and nobody wants to touch it now. I mean, what do you do at this point? Do you say, well, we have to invalidate the last 4 years because maybe it wasn't correct? Like, what do you do in that situation?
Scratch it off all the books. Scratch it all off the books.
Gentry said, "Should I dye my hair until DeSantis drops out?"
Absolutely. What color? You guys it's gotta be purple or something.
Yeah, no, like pink.
Purple.
Come on, the typical,
Well, he does live in Seattle, so
boy.
Oh yeah, he fit
I
right
would
in.
blend in. I would blend in. They would just think I'm like a white liberal or something. White lesbian.
Exactly.
You're a social justice warrior. You need a backpack and maybe like a little, thing to cover your face, and you'll be fit right in.
yeah.
But I was gonna say, isn't that like a symptom of wokeness? Honestly, like these like white
Absolutely.
liberals constantly thinking like there's so many social injustices and everything needs to be fought for and whatnot, and then they find themselves looking so ridiculous. I mean, I wonder, like, do they like hear themselves when they say this shit? Like, I couldn't imagine saying like, yeah, these type of people aren't smart enough to go get an ID, or don't know where to go get an ID, or may not have enough time to go get an ID and need to take a day off. I'm talking about exactly what these people are saying in that video, but it's crazy how like woke these people are.
So Steve, I'll say, hey, Steve again. So he says leftists historically have always championed racism. I mean, the Democratic Party was the party of slavery, right? And they have the whole mythology of the party flip, which is nonsense. Dinesh D'Souza is somebody who really breaks it down very well. And a simple stat, just as simple as in 1860, at the time of the Civil War, not one Republican owned a slave. And don't quote me on that. It's something along those lines. But the idea that the Republican Party is racist or conservatives are racist, like the left has done such a good job at propagandizing that, right? Like you talk to random liberals. So I live in Canada, and they're like, "Yeah, aren't Republicans racist?" I'm like, Do you know what a Republican is? Like they've literally never paid a second of attention to Canadian politics or American politics. So they don't even know what the difference is between republicanism and conservatism and libertarianism. So it's these people that are brainwashed and not and are ignorant that are saying these things without even thinking twice.
Here's one funny thing that everyone should think about watching. But before that, guys, we're also streaming on X. So if you want to check us out there, breakaway_USA on X. You can stream and scroll. Anyway, in 2012, the leftists or the liberals were all about Occupy Wall Street. They were against big banks, saving the banks like we did during the last recession. They were against Wall Street. They were literally protesting to get rid of all these big corporations, big governments. Bernie Sanders was all up in it, and Elizabeth Warren, all your typical suspects. Racism was at an all-time low as far as like searchability, as far as searches online and talk of racism online, massively depressed. What happened? You immediately saw these big corporations starting to push racism. And guess what? These idiotic leftists forgot about this whole Occupy Wall Street, big corporation, deregulation stuff they were fighting for, and they immediately flipped to racism, critical race theory, white supremacy, white people were bad. They've been manipulated, completely manipulated, but they're so insulated from the truth and reality that they think that everything they do is correct, because you have these stupid professors who are Marxist, who are self-proclaimed Marxists, telling them, oh, you know what? No, that's not the problem anymore. Now the problem is white people.
Yep.
So it's so interesting that the left is so college educated, but they fall into this trap of being underwhelming thinkers, right? Like the whole idea that getting an ID is hard for Black people. Like you can shoot that down in like 2 minutes. Like why is their thinking so shallow?
And it's a mainstream point.
I'm genuinely asking this question. Like their thinking is so shallow, except for the fact that they're like college degrees and masters and PhDs and MBAs and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, if you can't even think critically about a topic as simple as this, like they don't have access to getting an ID. Like So I guess there's two questions. Number one, why do they think so shallow? Right? Why is their thinking so shallow? But then number two, is college even worth it anymore?
Nope. That's an easy one. No. We spoke about this yesterday briefly. Steve says college education means nothing. Yesterday we spoke about it. A lot of companies are coming out and saying that we no longer require a bachelor's degree for certain positions. These universities just pump out these brainwashed, machine-like, activists, and that's it. There's no profound, like, think about the people that were the founding fathers. Like Alexander Hamilton was like 26 when he wrote the Federalist Papers, something like that. Like where are our thinkers today? They're not these institutions are not pumping out people that are very well read and wise people. They're brainwashed machines, and like Fabian said with.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, like you said with Occupy Wall Street, you had think about Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine, this band in the '90s saying, fight the power and whatnot, and then now they're shills for big pharma. What?
Yeah.
You can't script it better. It's crazy.
So the buildings that have lasted the longest in history are
public school system.
The pyramids.
Sorry, so reading a comment.
The pyramids, the Parthenon in Rome, things like that. Those people didn't have any college education. They were craftsmen. And there's a figure, and I don't quote me on the specific numbers, but it's something like in Germany, almost 30% of people go to trade schools to learn a trade, how to do stuff with their hands. In the US, it's only like 7%. Now, AI is taking over every job. I don't have to tell you that. not even just blue collar workers, blue collar jobs, white collar jobs, accountants, lawyers. It can look through every law book and find things that you need insanely faster than a human. It can do accounting way faster than a human. So there's no job that is safe. The jobs that are going to be the most needed in the future are going to be things like plumbing, electrician,
Oh, the trade.
HVAC,
Yeah.
things with your hands. So great, you have a college education hanging on the wall, but you have no electricity. How are you going to fix it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's just stop and admire Gentry's jawline.
I know, right? I saw that comment. Stop laughing.
David Medina. I wish I had Gentry's jawline. It is epic.
We got a couple good questions in here.
Right. Do what they tell you.
Oh, so do you differentiate between the infiltration of the left by a deep state and the natural state of a healthy left wing? That was from Simon_Essler.
So
He said it again. I didn't hear
Yeah,
that.
do you differentiate between the infiltration of the left by a deep state and the natural state of a healthy left wing? So basically, like the left, deep state.
100%.
I think 2012 was a perfect example. Going after banks, hey, something's not right. Why there's so much inflation? Why are these banks doing this? Why are we bailing them out? That was more of the natural state of being, and then the infiltration came because they didn't want them. The rich people didn't want them going after elites, so they turned their attention elsewhere, to each other.
What's crazy to me too is that, and I learned this in college reading about populism. There's right-wing populism and left-wing populism, and when you look at it, like essentially they both are a movement of the people. So that's why Occupy Wall Street, kind of a left-wing populist reactionary movement, is the same thing when you look at the right-wing populist movement, when they have grievances with the overspending and the tax bailouts and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that they agree on. But there's a huge difference when you talk about radical Marxist left-wing ones, right? These people are just like out there, especially if it's critical race theory that's stemming their Marxism. They're out there to literally abolish white or whiteness and stuff like that. So
Government, democracy, the republic, completely demolish it. If you read critical race theory, it says that society was built by whites for whites. So in order to get over it, and now think about it, who wrote the Constitution? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? White people. So just because of that, just because of their skin color, we have to abolish everything. Gentry, you're the first one on the hit list. But this is how
I'm right there
idiotic
with
it is.
you. Look at my skin, and I'm Jewish. So.
Yeah.
After me.
I'm not far behind. Look, I got the glisten on my forehead over here.
Mike,
It's
you're screwed. You're in Canada, my friend.
Yeah.
oh yeah. I'm already screwed.
Guys, I just want to go on record and say I am proud to be white.
That's good.
Hey, embrace your culture.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
More
So
people need to say that.
The-
I think more white people need to say, "Yeah, I'm proud to be white."
but
Nothing
what is
wrong
white?
with that.
Like what is white? It doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean anything. Just like black doesn't really mean anything. It's like there's so much distinction and so much variety within that shade, that skin color. Like it's so simplistic. I mean, ultimately you have to boil it down to that. But like I'm Mediterranean. Like am I white? Yeah, I'm white. But like I don't know.
Actually, guys, so there was something I posted on Instagram, very interesting, and I need to go deeper into this. But there's this incredible lady named Ezra, I believe Ezra Abbott, and she was talking about how when she grew up in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and it wasn't until I believe it was Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton started asking the media to call Black people African Americans. She goes, before that was not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was so that they
were called Negroes,
connect.
and there was nothing wrong with that, is what she was saying. That's a great video.
She said exactly, but that it was done specifically to make them feel like they have a tie with their African roots and start brushing off the Americanism, being proud of living here. It's really, really interesting. And she's been talking about all of this woke Marxist stuff since the 90s, which is pretty incredible. I just saw her the other day. I'm going to do investigations, but Mike, do you know her name?
Yeah, I can look it up quick. Hold on.
I just posted it on our page, but It's pretty incredible to think that one person told the media, "Hey, call them African Americans now," and that's what the media did.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So you guys know Booker T. Washington?
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington, right? Or
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the peanut
Oh, yeah.
guy.
her name, by the way, is Ezola Foster. If you go to the Breakaway USA page, there's a good video of her talking. Ezola, Ezola Foster. But so Booker T. Washington, I'm going to read a quick quote, okay? I'm going to be the quote guy today, Fabian. So this quote you guys may have heard of, but it's just think about, this was written in 1911 in his book, My Large Education. So he was, I'm not going to go into the history of Booker T. Washington. He's a fascinating Black American that founded the Tuskegee Institute, but that's for another time. But so think about how current this quote sounds. There's another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose their grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. This is 1911. This is Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, these grifters, these people that, you know, it's existed since the end of the end of slavery, and there's a very interesting discussion to have about, you know, slavery ending, and then, you know, you have all of these slaves that are emancipated and they're not really ready for the world, but there's this integration process that was, I don't know, a bit botched, but it's a very interesting thing to look at, because you have people like Booker T. Washington, who was a slave, who was emancipated, and this guy goes on to be one of the most learned people, one of the most learned people in America at the time.
Yeah, again, I always go back to the fact that pre-1960-ish, before this woke Marxism stuff really took over in America, because that's when it really took its ground. You know, in the 60s, you had the Vietnam stuff happening. You had Malcolm X, you had MLK, you had all this stuff. It was leftism that was trying to work its way through into racial politics, into cultural politics. And that's when it really got hold of it. But before that, when everything was normal, before Planned Parenthood was in every state, it's incredible. And I know we've spoken about this before, but the amount of single parent Black households was extremely low, on par with any other race. And after that, now we're looking at 73%-ish. And Hispanic
illegitimacy
population is not
rate,
that far behind.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? I mean, the more I think about it, is that it seems like they're trying to use them as pawns, essentially, to keep them on this like modern day Democratic plantation, if you'd say so. Because if they have them under control like that, then they can use them for the vote. And it seems like they're able to kind of like keep that impact for since the 60s now. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, if you really think about it, the Democrats have done everything to destroy the black community. The Black community, and yet they continue to vote for them. Why? Because they're able to have these people like Al Sharpton use these people as pawns for their political gains. And if you look at it, it's literally the modern day, Democratic plantation. Seriously, it's crazy.
So guys, I do want to change subjects a bit, because there is something really dicey I want to talk about, which is when I first saw it was super, super creepy. And then now it kind of makes more sense. So before that, guys, if you're watching and you want to stream it live and you want to continue to use Instagram, check us out on X, breakaway_USA. You can pop the video out while we're talking, while you do everything else on your phone. It's incredible. Instagram needs to do that. So Tucker Carlson had on a guest a few days ago, on Christmas Eve, actually. And the guest...
Is this what we're doing?
And the guest happens to be a gentleman named Kevin Spacey, who you may know has had multiple sexual allegations to him, got canceled, was removed. Was removed from his show, House of Cards. They spent $10 million. I just read, removing him from the season, and they reshot most of it. So I'll leave it at that. What do you guys think happened there?
Well, so I'm seeing, I can go first. I'm seeing, well, so he says the worst interview I've ever seen. I don't think it was it was a weird theater thing going on with him and that character from House of Cards,
Frank
right?
Underwood.
And
Yeah.
Frank Underwood, and I don't really know what was trying to be said by it, but it clearly wasn't like an interview with Kevin Spacey,
Well,
right?
sorry,
It was a
let me preface
theatrical
that.
thing.
I just found this out last night because my buddy's a big Kevin Spacey fan. Every December 24th, he releases a video.
Yeah.
And if you look at the videos, they're all super cryptic, very weird, very creepy. The first ones, he wasn't speaking like Frank Underwood. But since the show came out, he started speaking in that voice. So anyway, if you can go on YouTube and put Kevin Spacey December 24th videos. So.
But so I saw somewhere, and I can't substantiate this, that all of his charges that were brought against him, none of them, like he was proven innocent for all of them. Is that accurate? Anybody in the comments maybe, or you guys?
I want you guys
That's
to
something.
think about this real quickly. Who, in the last 5 years, who do they go after when you see charges like this? Trump, right? You know,
Yeah.
I've a lot of people that are kind of exposing the deep state and the establishment. So when I saw that personally, I was like, how unique, because when I saw the whole fiasco happen with Kevin Spacey, it seemed like it was at the peak of that show, House of Cards. And if you look at the House of Cards, it's a perfect representation of the Clintons, right?
Oh yeah.
So how do they stop that show from going on? Kind of similar to if you've ever seen that show Designated Survivor. How do they stop these predictive programming, subliminal messaging shows from going on? Boom, you hit them with allegations of sexual assault, sexual harassment from like the 90s, 2000s, whatever, right? And like you said, Mike, none of these actually were sufficient enough to be a conviction.
Gentry, what do you think, Gentry? Let's get your take on it.
I love Kevin Spacey. I don't care if he has allegations or not.
Well, if he's guilty, it's a different story. But you're saying as an actor?
Oh, I loved House
It's
of
one of the best
Cards.
shows
I thought it was
ever. Absolutely.
I thought it was
Hands
the
down.
greatest show, to be honest, I've ever seen, and I thought it was amazing. Fabian, you sent us a video about like a deep dive of all the Kevin Spacey allegations, and it was really interesting because one of the common themes is like, oh, people died during this whole thing. It's like, well, yeah, one of them was like hit by a car, and they were like drunk, and like she had the lady who got hit by a car had like harassed Kevin Spacey in the past.
She was a stalker.
And she was like a total stalker. The other guy that wasn't named, he died from cancer.
Cancer, yep.
Right. One of the kids that said that he sexually assaulted or was sexually assaulted by Kevin Spacey, basically told a story of a play that he was in. Right. So he basically just like recreated it. And it just like when you dig a little deeper and it just like all
Some
of the
things don't-
allegations.
The narrative doesn't really add up to what we're being
Right,
told.
right.
Yeah.
All of it fell apart, and I guess the big question isn't necessarily why it was canceled, but why House of Cards was even made in the first place. Because if it's like a perfect insight into how politics actually works, which I 1,000% believe it is. That's why I was so interested in it. I was like, oh, I have to watch this. Like I almost studied it. Like I was taking notes while I was watching it, to be honest. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was that big of a nerd. But like, why do they make these predictive programming type of content anyway? Like Leave the World Behind, Designated Survivor. What was that movie that came out like in 2016 about like COVID?
Contagion.
Essentially.
Oh, with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because they want to normalize it when it actually happens. So there isn't this massive response or rebellion, if you would say so, or something like that. Because, I mean, have you guys seen the movie Shooter before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that not them like saying like, look, this is exactly what we did with JFK? It's like,
I
I mean, look.
have to go back and watch that again.
Well,
Well,
say,
It was just a thriller for me when I watched it with Mark Wahlberg. You know,
it's an
like, but
abusive relationship. They do little by little, and it gets worse and worse. So that when they hit you, you're like, well, yeah, they kind of already pushed me, they poked me, so hitting me is not that. It's literally abusive relationships. So like, how do I get these people to accept what we want to do to them? Well, let's predictive program and use media, like Antonio Gramsci said. You have to use entertainment and media to make sure that you can control the people, control the masses.
you know what?
culture is downstream from politics, and culture and media are complete, and entertainment are essentially the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So go ahead, David.
But so I guess to go back to the original question of Kevin Spacey on Tucker Carlson, I loved it, but like, it was strange.
Definitely strange.
Well, I think it
But
was
so
strange on purpose.
yeah, but so
especially when you
somebody
watch his other videos that he's made.
Yeah.
somebody in the comments said, you know, I draw the line at at somebody diddling kids or something like that. But that's the point, is that I've never actually spent time looking at this situation, but whatever was broadcasted and, you know, propagandized in the media and sent out over the loudspeaker and repeated was what everybody's first perception is. And he never got a chance to defend himself. And if he did defend himself, it's a lose-lose.
But he was like, so I thought he was accused of having sex with people and stuff like that. The allegations were just groping. Like, he like rubbed someone's penis at this party, and I'm like, hey, I thought it was like a lot. Like, no, I thought it was like a Harvey Weinstein type thing.
Right.
So that video, guys, you should really research. And I don't know the name of the video, but just Kevin Spacey's cases or something like that on YouTube.
Here's what I'll say. He's not a great guy. The allegations that he gropes kids didn't come to fruition for what because the case fell apart. The other one where the kid was, I think, 18 or 19.
Okay. So
he's basically
hold on a sec.
he's
So
basically asking
We need
for
to
it.
address what's going
a
on.
couple comments saying
Sorry,
we're
guys,
trying
hold
to.
on. I found the video. 1 second. I found the video. If you guys want to watch it later.
1 second, Fabian, because we have in the comments like people thinking that we're defending this or
We're trying to justify this. Look, if he is guilty of rape, if he's guilty of being with anybody that's
I'm not seeing the
underage,
comments at all.
we're seeing kids are saying, "Are you seriously defending him?" While trying to justify this stuff. We're not. What we're saying is that clearly he's not been convicted of anything, so he's innocent, from what I understand. If he is guilty of raping anybody, then he's evil, and that's not. There's no beating around the bush and trying to justify it in any way. What we're saying here is you're innocent until proven guilty. I always thought he was guilty just because I never really looked into it.
Yep. Same.
But if he is guilty, if the people saying, "Are you seriously defending him?" Defending the justice and truth, right? If it's true that he's innocent, then what we're seeing was a smear campaign, just like Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas. I'm going to defend Clarence Thomas because the whole Anita Hill story was a joke, just like Brett Kavanaugh and that crazy woman that literally, you know, was clueless in court. This is not a new tactic. So what I want to know, and David, you kind of you suggested, is what was the reason for that? Like, why did they try to destroy him? Why was there such an attack on him? And it doesn't have to do with the fact that he was making House of Cards and it was so Hillary Clinton-esque.
So sorry, guys, 1 second. So the video is called "Why Does Kevin Spacey Keep Getting Off?" It's on YouTube. So it's a very interesting watch. Why does Kevin Spacey keep getting off?
So go watch the video, and here's why you need to go watch the video. My platform and all of these guys' platforms are built off of questioning the narrative. Okay,
You guys are kidding.
we are questioning the narrative. Okay, and if you don't like it, then you can go like stick your head in the New York Times and just be okay with that, right? Like be freaking open to being wrong. Okay, I'm open to being wrong all the time. Like the favorite thing I say is I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt, and I'm always going to question the narrative. Always going to question the narrative. And if Tucker has Kevin Spacey on, that
Right.
makes me go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should look into it a little bit more.
And we did.
And
And that's
so,
exactly what we did.
everyone that's just jumping to conclusions saying, "Oh, like you're a pedo," blah blah blah, like just fuck off.
Well, just
I
think
would
about
say
it.
that
Yeah,
that's
but
the
think
same
about it for a
exact thing
second.
that when you're like frustrated when they're accusing of Trump of everything without any due process, would
Right.
say, yo, he's guilty before he's proven innocent or whatever, right? It's like the same exact thing. You want to make sure that the justice system does what it's supposed to. So when people get accused of this stuff, especially when Trump got accused of everything up in New York and whatnot, you want to see due process take out. So you want to give Kevin Spacey that opportunity to defend.
Innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we've forgotten, especially when it comes to allegations in the media. Sure. And of course, anytime you hear stuff about people doing anything with underage people, it's literally the worst crime. And people should be, and in Florida now, rapists are being, you can be killed by law
Oh, yeah,
if
that's
you rape an underage
wild.
child now, which is great.
Yeah.
I think
Here's-
the point Jennifer is making is that learn the facts and look at who's prosecuting him and why and what happened to him.
So the other thing to consider is the powers that be know that diddling kids is a hot button for conservatives. And so they're just going to throw it out willy-nilly to whoever they want to destroy. And because in a lot of ways, the right is just as bandwagony as the left is, we're going to hop on the bandwagon without looking for the truth and just say, oh, they're guilty. But like Fabian says, and literally the law says, you're innocent until you're proven guilty.
Exactly.
You know,
I think that's enough of Kevin Spacey, but
Wait.
definitely.
One more thing,
Go
real
ahead,
quickly, Faith.
ahead.
Did you get my text of the video? Are you able to maybe pull that up?
yeah, but I don't know if I can play
just
the.
Peel it up together. The reason they went after him, in my opinion, is because of him literally, like the show was exposing exactly what the deep state is. And this one video of like the entire show, exactly that video just perfectly shows you this.
So guys, I'm gonna play this. We may get kicked off at an hour in about a minute. So if you do, this is the last thing we'll leave you with.
Pay to play. I accuse you of exactly the same. I also accuse you of playing politics only when it suits you. You're all being paid for all serving some master, each and every one of you, and you know I know that for a fact. You, for example, Thomas, is it for the good of the nation? Is the truth what you're really after? Or is it for some personal gain to fill the small hole in your soul that you sold off a long time ago? You accuse me of breaking the rule, and I tell you, I am playing by the rule. The very rules that you and I, the very rules that you.
That's pretty much it. You know, you literally
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna go
It's
back and watch that. Actually, I only watched bits of House of Cards, but
Oh, dude,
That's a
it's-
very powerful video, and I have seen that, and I think that might have something to do with it. The more I think about it, like if this guy's exposing your playbook, why would you allow it to happen?
Yeah, exactly. That's key. You know, that's what I always. As soon as I saw that, I was like, what a great kind of like, you know, interview, and it was pretty entertaining. Although I think somebody said that was the worst interview they've seen. I kind of agree in a sense.
Let me kind of bring it to our world. We expose things that they are doing as well. We have to deal with censorship. He is exposing things that they were doing. So what does he have to deal with? You can't censor him, but you kind of can.
was he a producer on it?
Yeah.
Was he producing the show?
Yeah, he was.
There you go. Because being the actor is one thing, but him being maybe the executive producer, a producer